What's up, Whack? My microphone was not on for the original intro. What's up, wackos? We're here for another spoiler episode, and we're talking about two different things instead of one different thing. Only slightly untimely. Heck, I finished a show and a movie. This is still the month they both came out.
Yeah, Michael, this is the most on top of it as far as social media trends in a long time.
Movies I see, like if it's a Marvel movie, I usually see those relatively close to release. If it's a television show, I usually wait a good 2-3 years before I try to get on board.
Yeah, how long was Twin Peaks out before I watched it and decided it was one of the best shows ever?
20 years maybe?
So I was 20 years late on Twin Peaks, but it ruled. So if I wait 20 years to watch every good show, maybe I'll like it.
Well, you vet a lot of things
more.
out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going to be talking about Stranger Things Volume 3, or what? No, Stranger Things 3. They just call it 3.
Oh, okay.
Stranger Things 3 and Spider-Man Far From Home, which we saw over a week ago, but we'll do our best. Now, if you haven't seen either of these things,
we're going to
we'll spoil the mess out of it.
Here's a quick generic thing. I personally think both of them are good. If you're a fan of Spider-Man, if you're a fan of Stranger Things, you will like them. They're good. That's really all I'm going to say. Like, every critique I have of either of these things is a little spoilery, or everything I want to highlight of either of these things is a little spoilery. So, like,
I'll try to do a timestamp thing in the comments so that we can talk about each show. So if you've seen one and not the other, you can try to do that. We'll do spoilers at the beginning of each one. We'll talk about Spider-Man first because that was longer ago. And also, anyway, here's the spoiler warning for Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm going to put a timestamp below in the comments so you know when to skip ahead for Stranger Things if you want to see that. Spider-Man spoilers start now.
Very good.
I thought it was really good. We saw it in a great atmosphere, which was on vacation with a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
So that's already going to get me in the right mood to see something. It's a lot lighter than I thought it was going to be in most every aspect. It's a funny movie.
It's funny. Yeah.
A lot of jokes.
All of the predictions I saw were like, we haven't dealt with like a lot of the Uncle Ben stuff that Spider-Man's usually dealing with and things, especially a young Spider-Man's dealing with. So, like, all the stuff I saw, like, for predictions was, like, it's going to be a movie of Peter trying to come to terms with, like, these two, like, kind of father figure roles. Like, his actual dad and then Uncle Ben and then Tony all dying.
The Tony stuff was heavily implied with the previews.
And he's like, it's going to be, like, a movie about him, like, dealing with death. And, like, most of... not all of it. Like, there were, like, a few kind of emotional scenes where he gets emotional, like, I don't know what to do without him. But, most of it was either played for, like, happy times or jokes.
It's pretty lighthearted.
Yeah.
And there's some people that don't like the Marvel movies because it feels like they force the humor. I think when you go into this movie, once you get the tone of it, it's all, like, almost immediately it starts off with jokes. It's a funny movie. So the humor doesn't feel out of place to me because it's kind of... That's the move. It's like the humor doesn't feel out of place in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 because they set the stage early that this is a comedy.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man... Again, like, it's just the MCU Spider-Mans are like teen comedy movies with Spider-Man in them.
I like this one more than the first one, even.
I do too.
The first one I remember thinking was good. I didn't like it as much as you.
I loved it, dude.
Which was weird. But I thought the first one was good, and it wasn't like my super favorite. I still don't think this is like my super favorite, but like I like this one more than the first one. Liked it a lot.
I like that there's a lot of Peter in this one, to be honest with you. I heard a lot of people complain that there wasn't enough Spider-Man in the movie. I liked a lot of the Peter stuff.
I guess I just didn't even think about it.
Like that's a critique I heard, and I was actually a fan of a lot of it.
I didn't even consider that. The thing that I don't like is that since I was a Spider-Man fan, the plot twist... I feel like the plot twist could have been cool if you didn't know who Mysterio was.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't already know who Mysterio was, it could have been a cool plot twist.
I know for the fact that it worked really well on Danny. Danny liked it a lot. Danny didn't know anything about it. She walked up, Mysterio... Like, the Mysterio turn got Danny, and it was good.
I love the idea of what they tried to do with Mysterio in the movie. It unfortunately didn't work at all on me because I knew immediately...
Mysterio he was going to be a bad guy.
As soon as I saw the trailer, I knew that he was the bad guy, and I also, like, that he's a special effects artist. Like, it's pretty clear if you know who Spider-Man is. Still thought it worked cool. Gyllenhaal played his role cool.
He did a great job. He was very charismatic. Like, it was good.
It was cool because he was playing just a super hammy cheese ball.
Yeah, and it was really good. Like, the scene where he's doing the toast after he gets the Edith glasses was the right amount of, like, cornball.
I'm just like, dude, this is so... Yeah. They're painting it on so thick.
It was so good.
Well, and they also, with the stinger, they kind of answer the biggest quote-unquote plot hole of the movie, which is, why is Nick Fury so stupid in this one?
Yeah.
And they answer it, because it's
a scroll.
It's the scroll.
Well, yeah.
So
I don't know how I feel about that, because, like, I think a lot of at least the coolness of the scene where the "You Got Me" scene, she shoots the thing out, I think is a lot cooler if it's real Nick Fury doing that. But whatever.
Yeah, did you have any tears in the movie? Did you have any tears in Endgame? Because I didn't. We talked about it, but I can't remember.
Yeah, no, happy tears in Endgame.
Okay, I didn't have happy tears, but I got my chills moments.
I had happy tears in Endgame where it started. No, I had sad tears in Endgame where Cap's shield's broken. He stands up without the hammer, and it's Thanos and the whole horde behind him. And I was like, Cap's gonna die here, and he's going to charge into the horde, and we're just gonna get like a Cap throwing his whole body at it until they kill him.
Before they say on your 6 or whatever.
Yeah, no, and that made me sad.
Okay.
And I got sad about it. And then the thing opens, we get an on your left.
Yeah.
And then I cried harder, but happy tears because we got our first Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
And I cried at that.
Is it the first or second?
First. It's the only Avengers Assemble.
He doesn't say it in Avengers 1?
In the first one. He
I
does
thought
not.
so too. Anyway.
I think they act like he's going to say it in the first one.
Did you tears in this one?
I almost did.
I didn't get actual tears, but my eyes did moist.
Yeah, they moistened. They moistened in the
Iron Man scene.
The Iron Man scene.
Yeah, the Iron Man scene made me so freaking happy when I got the chills going down my back when they freaking... And they also do a joke that lands at a perfect emotional moment, which is when he says that he loves Led Zeppelin.
I love Led Zeppelin was the funniest thing in this movie.
Because I was already super emotional, and it was like the right kind of joke at the right time to where it didn't ruin the moment. It amplified the moment to me because it both exemplified the Iron Man love.
It was like Iron Man.
It was an Iron Man tribute. He was acting like his father figure, and also he was just showing that he's kind of a young dumb kid.
Yeah, dude, that was so funny. It is. I would put it as my second favorite joke in the MCU. My first being the ending joke to Guardians 2 when they give him the Zune and says what all the kids are using.
Yeah, that's
very good. My biggest complaint with this movie was there's one scene that felt really awkward and weird to me, and it is the drone strike scene on the bus where he calls the drone strike on the dude, which I thought was fine, but specifically the part where he like makes everybody look away and jumps out of the bus to web down the felt a little, I don't know, odd, a little corny, a little.
It was part of a corny scene though, like
I was fine, like the whole he keep getting the glass knocked out of him. He actually slaps Flash and knocks him out. I thought was fun. Like all that stuff was funny and good.
I forgot that was supposed to be like Flash, and also just every scene with him in this movie is funny.
Yeah,
like he's
Logan Paul in this movie. And it's good.
I think he is the funniest part of the movie, probably as a whole. I don't think his friend was as funny in this one as it was in the last one.
Ned wasn't funny. Well, he was funny, just it didn't work as well.
The first scene of the movie, the fake news report.
Yes,
that made me laugh immediately.
Well, no, the first scene is the Earth Elemental or whatever.
Oh, really?
The second scene.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The second scene is the tribute to Iron Man, or everybody that died.
Which Maddie said she was like, our sister said she was crying during that part. I was like, no, dude, that was so funny. It was so stinking corny.
That's the thing. Is like
it was supposed to be.
I was like, I assumed that was all joke. Like I assumed that was all for laughs.
Because it starts off and you're like, this is real corny. Is this? And then it just gets, and you're like, oh yeah,
it's supposed to be. Yeah,
this is supposed to be corny.
I also liked that if you watch the deleted scenes for the first one, you learn about the teacher who has a lot of like marital problems and like how he's wicked sad all the time and stuff. All those are taken out of the first one, but they're in the deleted scenes. They're left in this one. I thought they were all funny.
The teacher, that poor teacher, he's just a sad guy. It was
my wife pretended to blip. We had a real funeral,
and the other teacher's obsessed with witches.
I heard another critique about that. I thought it was also funny.
What's wrong with? What did they think?
They thought it was too forced. They didn't like it.
Oh, I
They
don't
think it's very funny.
Maybe okay. So if they make 8 witches jokes, I felt like maybe one of them was forced,
Yeah,
or like almost all of them were funny.
we're so funny.
And when he
to
puts
me.
on the glasses and actually says it, that was extra funny.
Yeah.
And someone had to point it out to me in the theater because I couldn't read that fast,
So funny,
which is
dude.
funny. I read fast. Oh,
I
I'm
can't
getting real defensive about this.
I can
even though
read
no
fast.
No one attack. I can read fast. Dang it!
I like it that even when we go to movies and sit next to each other, you know that I cannot read fast enough to read subtitles, and you will read subtitles to
Did I
me
do that to you?
in movie theaters.
They do it to you?
No, we didn't sit next to each other.
Okay.
But literally, like reflexively, you don't even realize it sometimes.
That's funny.
You just lean over and we'll like say what's on the screen and lean back.
If you would have told me that happened this time, I would have believed you and not known it. I sat next to Maddie, I think.
So somebody cried the whole movie.
Well, I don't know. I was trying to make dumb jokes to Maddie and then repeat the same joke to Amanda. It was weird because the sound.
Because either side, yeah, movie jokes. J.K. Simmons is very funny and good.
Oh no! I forgot about that for a second, dude.
J.K. Simmons is
did you
so
hear me in the
good.
theater when he
Yes.
showed up and I laughed so loud and no one else did because they're probably too young to know that he was in the old ones.
J.K. Here's the thing. So I heard somebody pitch and they're like, "This is what I want." They're like, "I want there to be," because Marvel's done like, I don't know if you followed a lot of it. They've done like shorts and things that are like usually jokes. But, like there's a joke series of why Thor, like what Thor and Hulk were doing during Civil War.
Okay.
Like there's like these joke things, and what they want is like after a big movie comes out, they want like a YouTube series that's like J.K. Simmons' take on the latest Marvel movie.
That could be
because I
good.
think that would be very funny.
So real quick, just in case you're listening to this and you haven't seen the movie, J.K. Simmons reprises his role as
J. Jonah Jameson.
J. Jonah Jameson in this movie. It's part of the second stinger, I think.
Yes.
So J. Jonah Jameson from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans is the same J. Jonah Jameson because they could not find any human on Earth who better plays
Did a
that
better
character.
job, yes.
Which made me laugh literally out loud in the theater, and no one else was laughing, and it made me feel slightly embarrassed, but I didn't care.
That casting call was essentially J.K. Simmons and people. He was already been done. You have 3 days to tell me a better actor, or we're just gonna cast J.K. Simmons again.
Oh man!
And they couldn't do it. So
And
like,
then
yeah,
they do the Spider-Man reveal at the end, which I don't know. It happens.
yeah, I think it happens.
In the comic, it happens during Civil War.
They could just as easily walk it back though, because like there's a lot of, I forgot what book it is, where like a villain like leaks his identity, and then they like investigate it, and essentially they're like, why would you trust a super villain? And also, I'm a freaking kid.
At the same time, it kind of like parallels Iron Man.
Yeah, either way, I think it works. Like whether they walk it back. And, like, the second one is a lot of, like, Peter being like, no, I'm not Spider-Man.
I think we're going to have problems with Mary Jane in the next movie because now that they're actually dating, I'm curious how the chemistry will work because part of the, like, whole thing was the jokes of them not working out.
Will they, won't they? And,
yeah,
like,
and, like, they're trying to date each other. They both like each other.
they're weird.
They're both
awkward.
weird, but now, like, they're dating. It's going to be weird, I think.
Zendaya, I thought was, like, her character seemed a little too... There wasn't. She was
a very stereotype.
She was not in the first one enough to give any nuance to her character.
Here's
there was
the thing.
zero nuance in the first one.
I forgot there was a different love interest in the first one. That helped me.
Yeah.
I didn't even. Here's the thing. I don't even remember there being a love interest in the first one. I barely remember that movie, I guess.
Yeah, it's really good. However, in this one, she's the love interest. They give her a lot more screen time, and they like let her like make the character not so archetype. This is what this character is.
She steers so hard towards a different stereotype of like, I don't know.
I am kind of a butthole and edgy. Like I'm sort of like an edgelord, but it's mostly because I'm awkward and don't know how to deal with people.
Yeah.
And less of like I'm an edgelord because I'm more real and deep than everybody else in the world.
Yeah.
I'm a real person in a world of fake people.
It works
In 2 and doesn't work in 1.
Well, yeah, I didn't see 1. It works in 2. I think it's going to be potentially hard in 3, where they're already dating, and a lot of that comedic opportunity is lost.
Yes. I do. Everything worked. It was just good.
Yeah.
The scene where the psychedelic scene where Peter is getting on the fly.
Both of the Mysterio fighting holographic sequences are good. When he gets hit with that train, I thought they played it so well. Because when they first start fighting with the first holographic fight, I thought that it was a little like, oh, I've seen this not in movies, but like in comics and in video games, like a decent amount of times now, which was cool like the first time. But then when he fake comes out of the hologram and you don't realize that they're out of the hologram and then he gets hit by a train, very good.
Very good.
The second time they fight and he's just like fighting on the train and they like cut back to like show him fighting outside or what, like that was amazing. That was really cool just to see him just go like full awesome.
It was very cool to see. First of like just Spider-Man being like, this is the biggest threat I've had to deal with. I need to kind of step again. I know like what's his name? Fury was like kind of like pretty mean to our boy.
Yeah.
But also he gave him like a hard test of reality. Like Iron Man's gone.
Fake Fury.
Yeah, fake Fury. Like Iron Man's gone. You got to step up, my dude.
Yeah.
And Peter steps up and like handles a big threat. And like I like the fact that like he like his suit gets tore up and he gets beat. Like he very clearly takes his hits and has to roll with the punches in the fight, but also very much like gotta save the day. Like throws himself into harm's way.
Yeah,
I think it's very good.
And I think it's just weird because a lot of the takes on Fury that you have to have are not real because it wasn't real Fury.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I like the part where fake Maria Hill. What's her real name in the cartoon or the show?
Maria Hill. What do you mean?
What's her? Is that? Oh, that's not real. Maria Hill is a character's name.
Yeah.
Okay. Where fake Maria Hill shoots the rocket launcher.
Yeah. You got me.
That's good.
The boom. Yeah, it's very good.
That whole part was good.
I think that like
would have made it would have been cooler if it was the real one.
Fury and real Maria.
They gave her a little bit more screen time than she's ever had before, I think.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Avengers 1.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She also had.
Oh, is she in that?
Sometimes.
Okay.
And she's good. That show's good.
I like to see her character do more. So let's just bounce to the Skrulls, I guess. I'm mostly sad because the idea of a Secret Invasion movie sounds way cooler than what they're doing with the Skrulls. That's like, yeah. I think what they're doing with the Skrulls is fine.
Well, yeah, they're teasing like, okay, well, like, so in the book, in the comics, there's like there's shield and sword, shields Earth, swords like defends Earth from like aliens and stuff. Like, it's okay, like that's a natural progression. Like Thanos and all this stuff happened. Like, why don't we try to figure out how to deal with space? Mm-hmm. Like that's like cool and neat, but like, yeah, no, like if the next big thing that they did over like Phase 4 was like Secret Invasion and they did it right, I think that would be very cool.
Yeah. Secret Invasion is a storyline where the Skrulls are all evil and they're hiding on Earth disguised as people like Men in Black style, only it's not a comedy. And, you know, they have to try to figure out who's a Skrull and who's not because the bad guys are disguised as good guys.
Yeah, and it's really good. Well,
I've never read it. It just is awesome sounding.
Secret Invasion is okay, but like
the premise is awesome.
It's a really good premise, and they also what's better than the delivery of the book was like Bendis. It was Bendis' idea, and they had like a small writer's room where like he told like all of the big creators like this is what's happening, and he said here are all of the Skrulls, and everybody got on board as like a Marvel mandate, and like going back and looking at issues leading up to Secret Invasion, there's clear points where their character acts weird or like out of character and stuff.
Like this movie had.
Yeah, and all of it's very intentional, but like you almost don't catch it.
Yeah,
like,
that's cool.
Yeah, and it's really neat like looking back at the lead up to Secret Invasion. Mm-hmm. The Secret Invasion's fine.
I see. I've never read it, but the premise is awesome. Shapeshifters in a story can be so frustrating, but it's because it's so messed up and so like powerful.
And we're going to transition a little bit. Like, give it out of 10 for Spider-Man. I want to say 9.
I don't know if I go that... Like, okay, we're not doing our joke normal scale or whatever. So, like, if a 10 is, like, one of the greatest movies or whatever, I'll probably give it, like, a 7.
I'll give it a 9 because, for me, it's my favorite.
So, like, I'll give it a 7 because it's a solid... Like, if 7 is good, solid good.
Yeah.
No problems really with it. It just wasn't necessarily my super... Like, it was one of my favorite types of this movie. It was not one of my favorite movies ever.
But speaking of shape-shifting...
Okay,
let's... not really shape-shifting.
So we're gonna do an official stated thing. We're done with talking about Spider-Man. Official... We're giving you just a second. Official spoilers for Stranger Things 3 start now.
I think one of the biggest problems that Season 3 had, because we're talking about like the shape-shifting ideas, like nobody shape-shifts, but the idea that I think they figured out the Flayed too quickly.
I don't remember what episode they figured it out.
Like 4.
That's halfway through the season.
However, like, the Flayed didn't become an issue. Like, the Flayed was literally not an issue in their life until episode 3, is the thing, though. Like, episode 3 is the one...
Well, they have Will, though. Will
Yeah.
is kind of a way for them to know.
He's a demon sensor kid.
Yeah.
Well, like, I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's cooler if, like, they were more threatened by that.
Okay. I may tend to agree with you. I'm going to state a really, really maybe unpopular opinion. And I don't know how unpopular it is because I haven't actually done a lot of digging online. I could not give two craps about most of the, like, non-stranger parts of... I don't want to overstate it, okay? Most of what I care about in the Stranger Things is the stranger part and how the relationships worked with the stranger part. There is so much if you we watched these, I think we watched one a night, so it took us like maybe 10 days total, even though there's only 8 episodes. Figure it out, math. There was a lot of emphasis on the non-stranger Stranger Things happening for most of for half the season, probably.
Well, like, it didn't help that, like, I mean, personally, when I'm saying that is, like, all of the Russian stuff doesn't feel like Stranger Things. You know what I mean? Like, when I think Stranger Things, I'm thinking of, like, the monsters and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. It's like, none of the Russian stuff felt like Stranger Things to me.
We should maybe state this thing, because we never talked about Stranger Things on this channel or anything before. I don't give a crap about 80s nostalgia, and most of the time, it actively turns me off.
It doesn't turn me off, but I don't care.
So the first time we saw season 1, which I think is amazing because it's so tight as a package.
Yeah, as somebody who watches a lot of TV, I don't give it out very often. I think there's like 4 things ever that I've seen personally. But season 1 of Stranger Things is a perfect season of TV.
Yeah, like it 100%. It's so perfectly wrapped. It has 80s nostalgia and has tons of 80s references, but I don't feel like it really dwells on it that often. The beginning of 2, they get super hard into the fan service 80s stuff because it starts off with just like tons of music and all stuff. Season 3, it's just all over, and I think that
slap to the face.
I think the Russians thing is a huge part of that because it's the freaking 80s and the Cold War and whatnot. Like, there's a ton of Russian stuff. I don't mind the Russian stuff. I even accepted the Russian stuff. It was the fact that
it didn't feel like stranger. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it wasn't supernatural.
Feel like a supernatural thing, even though they were there because of supernatural reasons.
There was still so much frankly, and maybe this is my age. I don't know what the actual demographic of Stranger Things is. It's probably pretty big, especially since 40 million accounts watched Stranger Things season 3 so far. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say that I have zero interest in the relationships that the kids have.
It depends on the kid for me.
It depends, but like, I love Stranger Things when there's lots of stranger and the relationships are happening with the story. Most of the season, the relationships are the only thing happening, and there's like 10, like, no. If an episode's 50 minutes, maybe 5 minutes of stranger in the Stranger Things. And I don't want to say that I don't care about the kids, because that would be overstating it. I'm trying not to be hyperbolic.
Yes. But personally, the most interesting part about Stranger Things is I don't love Mike. Mike's not my favorite kid.
Mike sucks.
And also, like, I think Elle's pretty cool.
I think Mike is a cipher for the first 2 seasons. Like, he doesn't even have a character, really. And Will also doesn't, but that's not his fault.
Yeah, well, Will doesn't for the first season. Yeah, the thing about, like, Will is, like, I would argue that Noah, that's his name, like, Noah Schnapp or something, is one of the better child actors on that show.
Is that Will?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't let him act very often.
Until 3.
Especially in this... like, you're not even in 3.
He has more of a character in 3 than he's ever had before.
Yes.
Not his
like,
fault.
But, like, I'm saying is, like... He spends a lot... There's a lot of 3 of him just kind of being, like, in the background worried, while, like, Mike and Elle and... While the couples essentially are actually doing stuff.
I mean, he has character moments where he thinks his friends are, like...
Which is cool. Like, I liked that stuff.
They're doing a tease that he might be gay. Like, I don't know. But, like... 11 is clearly the most interesting child. And a huge part of it is because she has superpowers.
I liked that she used her powers a lot in this season.
Yeah. She got to, like, get her, like, women power stuff this season where she got to give her style. She got to, like, become her own person, which is cool.
I was even down like when they did the whole montage of them trying on clothes. I was like, okay, cool.
The thing is, I don't mind them dealing with the relationships of Mike and Elle. I don't mind Lucas and Max. It's that it was like the whole show for most of the show. That's the problem.
That's fair. Yeah, maybe if there was a better ratio
I like that
it
Max.
wouldn't be as worse,
I like that Max and Elle are friends and they got to have their girl time. I like that.
Yeah, that was fun.
That like Mike and Lucas and Will got to like try to figure out how girls work and like grow up. Like that was fine. It was the show instead of the stranger. Like it was like I'm just watching a teenager like dating show, which I said, I don't hate these characters. I like these characters. I'm fine watching this stuff happen while stranger things happen, but at least maybe half and half or something.
The ratio was not very stranger. I loved Luke and Dustin still.
What, Luke?
Not Luke. Steve. I don't know why I said Luke.
Steve and Dustin was very funny. I wish that Dustin didn't have to get isolated from everyone else to have what happened happen. Yeah. But basically, if you analyze the plot as a whole, they had 4 different things that had to be known to finish everything. So they had to have like the 4 different groups of people. I get it. I know why they did it.
It makes sense narratively. It just is. I also, here's the thing. As much as I do love Steve and Dustin together, I also like the 4 boys freaking out about stuff together.
Yeah.
Which you get a lot of in season 1.
Yeah.
I miss there's none of that in this
I miss
season.
Dustin interacting with the rest of the boys. But also I like Steve Steve sucked in the first season. Like he straight up is kind of a villain for most of the first season.
Yeah.
And season 2 he becomes better, and in season 3 he's just funny. I liked Robin.
The scene, Robin was cool. I like all the scenes of him yelling, of Dustin being like, "Why don't you just freaking date Robin already?"
Yes.
Was funny. I like the scene where they meet for he gets back from summer camp and he's like, "What's up?"
Yeah, like he's the one that's excited.
Legitimately, his Steve Harrington's best friend in the whole world is this 12-year-old kid, I guess.
You mentioned to me that you don't like Erica.
I didn't think Erica was funny.
I have mixed feelings with Erica. I like Erica. I do think that some of the stuff she says is really funny. Some of it's less funny.
Okay, let me phrase that. Yes, when she was complaining about Russians being communists, I thought was funny.
I don't like that it's such a hard shift that she feels like a character from a Disney sitcom and everyone else kind of takes things seriously, where she doesn't even take things seriously in the serious parts, which I get it. She's the comic relief. But some of it feels totally weird. But I thought she was so funny. The part where she's like, "You can't spell America without Erica," made me laugh out loud. I thought it was good.
I did not laugh.
Oh, dude, I thought it was funny.
The scene I did laugh a lot about is when he says you're a nerd or whatever. He's like,
"Oh, yes, that whole part was great.
That scene was hilarious." And she's like,
"What the heck was that?"
When your kids probably jumped.
Something stranger just happened here.
Or when freaking yeah, when she's like, "How do you know so much about My Little Pony?" He's like, "Because I watch. Because I'm a nerd."
Because I'm a nerd. Dude, I've had that exact conversation with more than one person in my life before, where I have to convince them that they're a nerd because they don't believe they're a nerd, even though they're totally a nerd. That whole scene was great. Yeah, so I definitely thought Erica was good. Most of the time it was good. Some of the times it was a little awkward. I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny when she finally got Lucas realized that she was part of it, and she's like, "Dude, you actually knew this crap, and you kept it a secret."
I did like the idea. He's like, "So you believe that Elle has superpowers, and there's another dimension?" Yeah. He's like, "You don't believe your brother's a part of it at all?" "No, I don't believe any of that." That was good. You believe everything else?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was good.
You mentioned Elle using her powers a lot.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I liked that.
Also, she's an X-Men in this movie of normal people. Of course, she should be doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah,
literally.
I thought that was cool.
Literally, the heavy lifting.
Yeah, dude, she picks up that freaking barbell and looks swole as heck.
Let's talk about some of the grown-ups.
I didn't. I thought Hopper kind of got character assassinated in this season.
No. That's way too strong.
Is
it because of the Mike and Elle thing?
Yes.
I thought that.
Here's the thing. I think it was funny. I think he's a good actor, and I think his delivery on some of the lines of how to be a dad.
He's a freaking great actor.
Was funny, dude.
He's the only reason I want to see that new Hellboy. Plus, I think that
Hellboy's quite cool, but I want to see Hellboy because of him. It seemed
this could be a perspective,
a weird grit and stuff to his character.
Yes.
That especially in the first half of this season was not
there. They take him in a very comedic. He's always been comedic.
Yes.
They take him in a little bit of a different direction, and this could be a perspective because I'm a father, but I felt like it worked better than I feel like it worked more than you do.
I think it all worked. I think it's funny. I don't like that version of Hopper as much as I like
the idea that he
Hopper.
is this tough, gritty guy who has his daughter as a huge weakness. He's always had like his past as a weakness, like his daughter.
His daughter, his biological daughter.
Biological daughter's a weakness. Now he has Elle as a weakness. I think it works really well.
He honestly just a little too zany almost at first. Does that make sense? Like zany?
I know what you mean. It was a lot more sitcom and a lot less Stranger Things. Because in season 2, he has similar like anger issues over like keeping Elle safe. In this episode, it's a little more comedic, and I think that they try to do that to endear him with Joyce. And it is funny.
It is funny. And like the scene where he's going and trying to talk to Joyce about how to be a parent because like I don't want to deal with teenagers.
Yes, Joyce had some very funny parts, and like her character hasn't really changed that much. Mm-hmm. But the parts
she's had the like almost no arc, I guess, throughout like every season.
Yeah,
besides like I guess just getting a little more used to.
She's just one of the best parts of the show, in my opinion, though. Like because she knows that it's real, and B doesn't give a crap what anyone else is saying. So like
she the part where her sole purpose is I'm going to make sure all of my kids are okay at any given point, and because I'm a mom, and that's what I'm going to do. And I don't care, like, how I have to do that.
There's a couple parts where she just completely goes off on people in the season. One of them made Amanda laugh out loud really hard, and it's where she first goes off on Murray. Like, where, like, Murray's being Murray and Hopper's being Hopper.
When he's trying to use the metal detector on
that part, yes. And, like, she goes off, and Amanda laughed out loud so hard, and I thought it was great, too. So, like, there's that part. Heck darn, dude. Parts of it I like so much, and parts of it I don't hate. I just didn't like as much.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know really what to focus on, but the relationship between her and Hopper had been teased for so long. They finally got there. Did the Hopper thing surprise you?
Him dying?
Yeah. Or not dying, but dying, yes.
No,
it kind of caught me off guard.
Here's what I was thinking.
Even though
I thought there was going to be a big death this season. Nobody big had died.
Based on what I'd been seeing from everyone else, I assumed there's going to be a death because everyone kept talking about how it was sad. I assumed they were going to kill a new character. Or
I did. Here's the thing,
Murray.
I did a little bit until, Robin. When Robin, like,
I thought they might kill Robin.
When Robin came out as gay, though.
Well, when they came out, when she came out,
I was like, they're not going to do that.
Before
there's like, isn't that like a big trope?
I don't know.
Lesbian characters dying and things.
Maybe.
I thought that was a trope.
So like my arc went. I thought they were going to kill Robin as soon as I realized that Steve actually did like her. Even before that, but when she came out, it's like okay, they're not going to kill her first.
You very clearly realized that Steve was going to like her by the end of the season.
Yes.
You're like, okay, they'll kill Robin. What I think too.
But then I was like, okay, so she came out, they're not going to kill her right now. And then I was like, well, they could kill Murray, which I love Murray. He's a great character. He plays a character great. I was super sad when Alexi died.
I wasn't as much. Danny freaking latched onto Alexi harder.
I was super sad, dude.
I liked Alexi.
I mean, you kind of knew that one was coming. That wasn't a super surprise. But, dude, it kind of sucked. Mm-hmm. Like, because he legitimately basically was a good guy. He wanted to become an American, he even states. Yeah. Like, oh, dude, I felt bad. Like, I knew that one was coming. So that, like, got me in a way that I knew was coming.
Did you like the Dreadfire Roberts?
I thought he played an amazing, absolute turd of a mayor.
Oh,
like,
dude.
And the parts where Hopper just like goes off on him were so good. There was a couple different instances where Hopper just goes off on somebody like he has on the other seasons. The John Wick part where they're in the Hall of Mirrors and he has the pistols and he just like gets him. I was hoping that would happen. I also was just hoping he'd be dead, but then I realized that it was an 80s movie ripoff and they're gonna have to kill him in the final scene. Which is also, like, at that point, you're like, they're going to have to kill Hopper. The whole fight. You're like, they're going to have to kill Hopper. But, like, that's crazy. Because, like, it's weird that you kill a draw for your show. That's the weird part. It's not weird that you would kill a main character. It's weird that you would kill, like, this is why we watch the show. It'd be like if you kill 11.
It's a weird thing of, like, who could they kill?
Who
know what I
could they
mean?
kill that doesn't ruin the complete reason I watched the show? And it's like, they could kill Joyce, and that would not be good either. But I almost made more sense because I feel like Hopper... Okay.
Like, a world where Hopper has to become more of a dad and learn the lessons of parenthood.
And somehow be
from
harder.
Joyce. Yeah.
Because he's had more burns.
Yeah, like, he has more burns, but he has to, like, be more open because, like, let's say he gets Will and Jonathan and Elle. Like,
something like that.
I think that is more interesting narratively, first of all, but, like, I'm just trying to, like, characters... Maybe Will... Because I don't think Will does a ton.
Here's the thing. I thought I thought Will could die.
I thought Will could die,
Here's
and, like,
the thing.
I would still watch the show. Like, here's the thing. People love Steve and Dustin, so neither of them are going to die.
Yeah.
Mike and Elle, no, because they're a couple. Lucas and Max, no, because they're a couple.
And also the minorities.
Yeah.
No, the thing for me was, and this is an overanalyzation maybe. This is a Pacific Northwest story.
Yeah.
Pacific,
it feels less like a Pacific
it's
Northwest
not a
story in this
Pacific.
one.
Yes, way less. Well, in some ways, and in some ways, we may get into it's actually more. But like
One of
the things about a Pacific Northwest story, like one of the main tropes, is that the like cool cop detective type person. It's like this one does a little bit of like flipping it on its head, where it's the actual sheriff instead of a person coming in from out of town. But like he is that character, so they ripped that from the show, which that's one of the huge things that surprised me. He's like part of the Pacific Northwest story formula.
Part of
Is the fact that they ripped him off, and so like that was part of the surprise for me. The other thing, and we haven't talked about it yet, is he probably isn't dead. Now let's assume I hadn't said that yet. The freaking part where she reads the letter is beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that my sister was bawling. She's our go-to for who cries at the sad parts.
Yeah.
I'm sure my sister was bawling during that part. It was very well done. And it was very well done. I don't want to like brush over it. It was very well done. It landed very well. The words that were spoken both made sense at the time he would have been writing it, and also made even more sense.
When people are able to pull that off super well, of like
it made sense when he would have written it. It makes more sense now.
That's always really impressive. And it's good.
Very good. Very, very, very good. But he's probably not dead, is the rub.
Takes a lot of the emotional payoff away.
I'm going to break my character and say this. I usually freaking hate it when people bring characters back from the dead in ways that were not originally intended. Now, you could say this was wrong. Whatever. I generally hate when people come back from the dead. Usually. Not Jesus, though. That was good.
Or Gandalf.
Well, Gandalf is a little different because it doesn't feel the same. But let's just say a CW show type thing. I freaking hate it. 100% of the time in comic books. Maybe not 100. What about Bucky? If it's done sparingly, it can be done well. It can be done well. I don't know if the show's going to do it well. But here's the thing. More than maybe any other show I'm talking about, I freaking hate that they killed Hopper.
So, like, I mean, like, there's so many ways they can be like, oh, he didn't incinerate, he got sent to the Upside Down and then got found. Like, I mean, there's a million narrative ways.
But those aren't great ways. I don't think there's a good way to do it, is what I'm saying.
But you'd be okay with it because you miss Hopper.
But because it's Hopper, I might be okay with it. I realize that's breaking my rule or being a hypocrite or whatever. Like,
No, dude, because here's the thing. I do that with relationships and shows when they tease will they, won't theys, and in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the will they, won't they in that show freaking made me I was like fangirling Maddie mad at like the fact that these people wouldn't get together.
I read an article by Forbes where they stated the exact same thing. Essentially my exact like perspective, which is like, I freaking hate when they bring characters back from the dead, and they in the article they listed so many bad examples, including the CW shows. But also it's freaking Hopper. Who wants Hopper to be dead? So, like, I feel very at odds with the way that this is working, where the stinger implies that there's an American alive in Russia. The assumption is like, okay, we've got lots of people who it could be. Let's spread it out. And I've seen some really dumb predictions. And
the only prediction I really saw was somebody
said it was Murray. Like, he didn't get out. Or, like, they captured him later.
The thing that I saw was... it was the guy from season 1,
yep.
Papa guy.
I've seen that, the Papa guy. Or I've seen people say it's her real dad. Like, I've seen different different predictions. The most
hope
safe
it's
bet
Hopper.
is that it's Hopper.
And I hope it's Hopper. 'Cause, again,
I kind of hope it's Hopper.
Yeah, because again, I agree with you. I think it takes away the emotional, like some of the emotional sting of like
but dude,
all this stuff. But like, I also want Hopper in the next season of the show.
The part where Elle comes out of the mall and sees Will hugging his mom, and Joyce looks at Elle, and there's no words exchanged, but they have a conversation about how Hopper's definitely dead. Freaking so good. But also, he's probably not dead. They don't know it, so whatever.
Which is good.
It stands. They don't know it. But heck, dude, he's probably not dead. I hope he's not. I hope that's the part, is I'm afraid to admit this. I hope he's not dead.
I hope he's not.
I don't like to be that guy. I like to be the guy that can stand back and critically analyze something, but maybe it's because I actually like this show more than most shows that I talk about. I do hope he's not dead. If we watch the next season and he is dead, I'm not going to hate the season inherently. But if
there's other good things about the show. However, one of the best things about the show,
even with my criticisms, if it pops up and he's not dead, I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be excited, happy.
You'll be like,
a fanboy happy.
I see my boy.
I'll be fanboy happy. Yes. People thought Elle was dead after the first season. That was so dumb. And that one, they didn't like imply that she was dead. I didn't care about bringing Elle back because you didn't think she was dead for very long at all.
I have a question for you, Michael.
Yeah.
So this is not my opinion, but like I did think this and stuff. There's another YouTube channel, the Cosmonaut Variety Hour or something.
I think I've seen it.
He talks about how like he thinks the show would have worked much better as an anthology. But the iconography from season 1 took off, and he said his theory, and I want to get your take on this. His theory is that the show could have been that, but it got so big so fast, and people latched onto the egos and like the hat and the radio and the whole atmosphere and stuff, that he's like, it got too big for its own good, and he's like, I still think the show would be critically better as an anthology series. However, he's like, I understand why they couldn't do that. Because he's like, again, if you remember, the first promotional material for season 2 was started out as an Eggo commercial, and everybody instantly knew what it was. It wasn't tied to Stranger Things at all. There was just an Eggo commercial that appeared everywhere, and Stranger Things season 2.
I understand that perspective, and I was huge in the boat after season 1 that they should not continue it.
But my favorite season 2.
See, I don't.
I understand that I'm in the minority. I think season 2 is my favorite.
I have a hard time separating them out in my head. At this point now, Stranger Things means all of it.
That's
so fair. For me, I have a hard time saying, now, after season 1, I was like, yeah, I wish they would not continue this because it was so freaking perfect at the end of season 1. I love the characters.
Down to the coughing up of the slug.
Yes, I
like money.
I like freaking cliffhanger endings like that, especially in things that are slightly horror like. It makes it scarier.
It's scarier, yeah.
So I like that. That being said, after we know that it's a series now, I don't want to take it back because I don't think that they've.
Yeah.
If the show now sucked, then I would say I can't believe we have more Stranger Things.
You know, there is integrity.
Even with my problems with it, I like it a lot, and I'm going to continue. Like I am more excited, and I'll say this: I'm more excited to watch season 4 than I was to watch season 3. Because they wrap everything up completely cleanly at the end of season 2. And I thought that was a bad idea. I think we talked about it personally, but not like on air. Season 2 ends so perfect, there is no reason to watch another season. And when they showed the trailers for the 3rd season, I didn't care. My wife didn't even want to watch it, really. She was like, straight up, why would we watch this? It ended. And also, she picked up more than I did that it was going to be so heavily nostalgia-focused that I was like, I kind of don't know what they're going to do. Like, and I will state this. The fact that they kind of they just assume that, oh yeah, the Russians want to open the gate because they want the power. Like that's a kind of a lazy plot.
But I mean, it could be a big assumption. We don't know why the Russians want it.
I guess they just don't explain it at all, nor do they like tease that there was a better reason.
But I mean, they tease that Russians are going to be in season 4.
Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is. Like I think the assumption is they want the power the same as the Americans do.
I also think that the frickin' design of the Demogorgon's money, and we get to see another fully grown Demogorgon.
Yeah, Demogorgon,
and it's cool. A very good design.
The Mind Flayer was cooler when it wasn't fleshy.
Yeah, no, dude, when it was a smoke monster, terrifying to me.
But the flesh is gross, dude, and it works to be a certain level of gross. There's a lot of gross things. Man, I don't want to like have this be stupid long, but there's a lot of other things we could talk about. Once again, you talked about Wesley being the mayor. The freaking dude gets the mess kicked out of him over and over, and it feels good because he's such a bad character. Like a good character, he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
So when you watch him just get beat up over and over, it is very funny every time. The freaking Russian, you hate him so bad. So
Billy?
like you. Okay, let's talk about Billy. In season 2, Billy is established as a character that could not possibly be hated more by people, including when they tease that he might have a tragic backstory.
Yes, you still go, nah, he's still the worst though.
After season 2, there was absolutely no way where I thought that I would feel even the slightest hint of remorse at Billy dying. Nor did I think they would even attempt
to make you
a semi-redemption arc with Billy, because I've never hated a character like in a long time, at least, except for maybe that one we'll talk about 12 Monkeys. I don't want to dive into that. It's been rare that I hate a character so much that I hated Billy as in Stranger Things season 2, and that was intentional. He sucks on purpose. At the beginning of the season, he freaking still sucks.
Yeah, no.
Also, Mike's parents both kind of suck. Like, his dad is a dweeb and also, like, not a very good dad. His mom is also not a very good mom. Like, they tease that, like, I think they try to play her as if, like, she's a good mom, but she has flaws. No, she's kind of not a good mom. Neither of them are good parents.
No. None of the parents in that. Oh, Winona Ryder.
Yeah, Winona Ryder's the only good parent in the show.
And Hopper's trying.
And Hopper tries.
He tries. He's tapped in.
Mike's mom and dad don't care. So, like, let's state the thing about Billy. He sucks so bad. I think that the fact that he sucks so bad, you don't feel so bad that he's the person that gets doppelgangered right away. And I think that was good. The problem is they only had 5 minutes of the stranger for like the first 3 or 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. So like, it's just like, oh, Billy got another person. Who gives a crap? Billy's a monster. We know. Yeah. Now, this is the thing I will state a little bit. One of the huge aspects of a quote unquote, and this is me being a nerd, Pacific Northwest stories, is that the darkness within the story is always tied to the darkness within the people in the story. This has never been true of Stranger Things, to my knowledge, though.
I guess if you think about, like, the science people in the first season.
Maybe
they're bad,
but like
people, so they open
sort of. It just feels like the people open up a place they can't control.
But as opposed to like normally in Pacific Northwest stories, it's something like the demon shows up because they're horrible people in the town doing horrible things, and it's attracted to that.
It's attracted to their badness. This is the first time we see any of that, where the Flayer hits Billy first and kind of controls Billy. Like Billy seems to be the alpha in the Flayed. In the Flayed, and also. In kind of restoring his humanity, releases him from the bonds of the evil. Mm-hmm. So they barely give him a redemption arc. I think the fact that they kill him
is good.
Is good because you forgot how much he sucked by the end of the season. Because it'd be hard to redeem some of the things that he does. He's really a bad person, and
like, he's a bad guy. He's racist. Like he's just a bad dude.
Yeah, he's violent. He's racist. He's like terrible to everybody. He's womanizer. Like he's very bad in a lot of ways. They redeem him in a way where you forget that and you feel bad for him when he dies. They show that he has a tragic backstory, and he still gets to do something good by saving Elle at the very end. Mm-hmm. So I thought they handled that really well. I feel bad for Max, but Max has a little bit of Stockholm syndrome where she likes him even though he sucks that bad. Yeah. And like I personally love redemption arcs, so I like that they gave it to him. I did still feel a little sad when he died because like he clearly was the way he was for a reason. He still made bad choices.
I felt happy in the sense that
he redeemed himself.
Yeah,
it's like when Darth Vader kills the Emperor.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was like, yeah, freaking good on you, Billy. Way to like you suck, but you pulled it together.
Darth Vader
at the end.
Darth Vader needs to die, but he saves Luke.
Yes.
So he dies a good guy.
Yeah.
That works.
I was okay with that. Okay, so I have I think the minority opinion. This is gonna be the last thing we talk about because it's in the last episode. Did the never-ending story play for you?
Okay. Let's state a little history with the never-ending story. I've never seen the never-ending story.
I mean, yes, I have.
I've literally always wanted to. And one time I tried to watch it, and you and Maddie were home, and I was watching you guys, and you didn't want to watch it. You got bored in like 15 minutes, and we turned it off. And I'll never forgive you for it. Because I'll admit it. I love stop motion and I love puppets. And the Neverending Story looks like a frickin' weird show movie. So I've never seen it.
Is it Burton?
No, it's not Burton. It's Jim Henson.
Okay.
I've always wanted to see it. I've never seen it. It looks super interesting to me. So when they start singing the Never Ending Story, of course, I don't know what song it is until
they get to the
they get to the Never Ending Story part. I thought it was funny, and it kept getting funnier as it went for me. Are you going to tell me you didn't think it was funny?
It didn't play at all for me until halfway through. No, dude. No, here's the thing. I was like, this is dumb. This is actively dumb. I don't like this. And then halfway through, I kid you not, I busted an actual gut.
At the beginning, I didn't think it... when they were like, you have to say the thing, I thought he was going to say a poem or something, or sing a dumb song. Then they started singing together. It never actively turned me off. But it did get funnier.
So hard, dude.
It got funnier as it went to where I was also, especially when they showed Murray hearing it on the radio, I was busting a huge gut because it's so freaking funny.
It went full circle. I was like, no, this is dumb. This is dumb. This is dumb. This might be the funniest thing I've seen in so long.
Everybody realizes that the girl is real. She gives them the code, which is great. And the longer they go and the more faces reactions they show, the funnier it is. And when Murray, just like the last shot of Murray is just like, dude, this is the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. Because Murray cannot have any of it. He just doesn't give a crap.
Just won't have it.
Oh, man.
It's good.
I thought it was good. Now I want to watch Never Ending Story. Evidently, the creators of Never Ending Story are like, kind of having like a double take right now because everyone wants to watch that movie now and they're like, what the heck is all the interest in the story about? And then they heard it was for Stranger Things, so now like super thankful for Stranger Things. I want to see it because I've never seen it. I've always wanted to. My wife said she'd watch it with me. So I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool that his fake girlfriend was real, but you knew that was coming.
Yeah.
I feel like
at no point, considering everybody had been giving him a hard time every time he brings her up.
Yes.
You're like, oh, she's got
Elle lost her powers.
She'll get him back.
Well, yeah, but we have reasons why we could think it happened. Do you think it happened because the monster was in her leg? She used them barely after that.
Yeah, I don't know. I assumed...
You could assume that what she said was that it was a battery that just got overused,
yeah.
But it seemed like even 3 months later she couldn't use power still, was the implication by the end. I think she overdid it for sure, which is like, so part of the whole thing with the like arc where she becomes friends with Max is don't let anyone tell you what to do. You're your own person. And there's some value in that, but there's also some value in knowing that other people may be able to help you better than they think they can. And so I think there's a little bit of walking back of that where everyone keeps telling her not to overdo it. And she's like, I know my limits. When she did not know her limits, of course she wouldn't know her limits. She's never tested, she's never been able to do that before. So the fact that
she's never gone toe to toe with the Mind Flayer.
With the Mind Flayer directly. She only closed the gate before.
Which, dude, freaking, again, we already said it, looks so much cooler as a shadow monster and is more terrifying to me.
Well, and when he walks, the whole scene where he's chasing him in a car is not great. I do love that they killed him with fireworks, though. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It looked very cool.
Yeah, it was cool. But yeah, she lost her powers. She should have probably listened to some people who were like, hey, take it easy for half a second. She didn't. So we'll see. She was very awesome because she was an X-Men, essentially. And we'll see what... She's like the Jean Grey, but if Jean Grey was awesome instead of suck butt. Speaking of that movie just came out and bombed. It didn't even make its own budget back.
Freaking who could have told you that?
Okay. Is there anything... I feel like I could talk about longer, but I don't... Yeah, like I don't want to miss anything super major. But I don't know if we are. I thought it was funny. I thought it was heart touching. I thought it was cool. It ended up being stranger enough. I wish the Mind Flayer wasn't physical, though the gross body horror that happens is pretty gross. The hospital scene. Oh, let's just face it. And we talked about this a little bit. I did not live in the 80s, but this seems like they may overplay up the sexism that was in the newspaper room.
Here's
I don't know. I wasn't there.
No, I wasn't there. And this is what felt weird to me about it was it felt like this weird thing where it seemed so overt I assumed it was supposed to be played for laughs. But then the way that everybody was reacting to it and like the vibe of the show made it feel like it wasn't being for laughs.
Here's the thing, right? those people were giant beeholes, and there's no arguing it.
Yeah,
it's whether or not they represented a real type of person. Because I think the show is trying to show, like, hey, women were not treated nicely in the 80s, which I definitely buy. It seems a little overt. I don't know. I wasn't in the 80s. I can't speak for it. But what I will speak for is there, and of course, by the time this happens, the guy had been flayed. The evidence that she had to support her theory that strange things were happening were so weak that, yeah, they were definitely beeholes about how they handled it and they made fun of her. But, like, she didn't have much evidence. So it wasn't that weird. And so when her mom's like, hey, if you think you're right, you're right. Yeah, it turns out she was right, but she definitely didn't have much going into the original theory. So they should have probably shut her down that first time, like they did. Not the way they did it, but they probably should have shut her down. Also, let's just kind of face it. The argument that she has with Jonathan, they both have legitimate complaints because those guys at the office are giant beeholes and he doesn't know what it feels like. He straight up also has an argument where he's dirt poor and she's never had to worry about money in her life and she ruined his job. Like, that's totally legitimate too. They both...
I liked because my only thing was, I know they made up. I wish there was a little bit more of both of them being like, you were also
there was no part where she said that Jonathan was right.
Yeah.
She might have said...
She sort of implies it.
And Jonathan apologizes because she was obviously right.
Yeah.
But his anger was justified with her making him lose his job.
Yeah. He's just like, I would really love to go to college and
pay rent.
Yeah, and pay rent and stuff. And, like, my mom works part-time at a store that's closing down because of the mall.
Yeah, like, he had a legitimate gripe, and I don't feel like they apologized enough. He definitely didn't know how she felt because they were in a giant beehole office full of turds.
And he stood up, like, he didn't even, like, not only did he have to, like, deal with, like, that, he didn't have to deal with them as, like, people. I take pictures and I go develop them in a room by myself. Like,
it's like...
I don't even, like, know what they're even, like, you know what I mean?
I felt like I just felt like his side of the argument was a little bit given the short stick because he wasn't arguing. What he was arguing is that she shouldn't have made him lose his job.
Yes.
And like that, he was kind of right in that part.
Yes.
And she doesn't really apologize to him for it, though. Obviously, the people that work at the newspaper office suck, and that's why you feel zero guilt when you realize, hey, those people are totally dead now.
Oh, no, dude.
Like, I talked about that with my wife, like, when she killed... First of all, you would not do anything different in the situation. If someone attacks you like that, even if they're being mind-controlled, that could also be another instance of normal people that are bad being attracted by the flayed.
I guess.
Yeah, because those people suck.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, like...
what about that kid that gets taken?
What kid? Oh, that sucks, dude.
That little kid?
That kid probably died, too. There's a lot of people that probably died. You don't think about it?
for sure probably died.
But when Jonathan...
what did that kid do to get flayed? He's just the worst.
He stole all the baby's candy. When Jonathan and Nancy murder those two people from the newspaper office, like, afterwards we were watching, I was like, those people are totally dead now in real life. Like, they were totally beeholes. But whether or not they deserve to get murdered the way they did is different. But, like, there's no... it was self-defense. You can't stop it. It sucks for those people. Now, you don't feel as bad because people sucked. They were bad characters. But that sucks, dude. All those people that were in the flayed died.
Oh, also, one more thing is, like, I liked how it was the same mind flare.
Yeah.
I did like that.
Well,
like,
and he learned things, too.
Like, he learned things. It was like, it makes sense. Like, Elle closed the gate, and then we got him out of me. It happened in that order. So it makes total sense that the mind flare's just chilling somewhere.
There were people speculating that he's still not dead. If they brought him back a third time, might be kind of dumb.
That'd be kind of dumb.
They probably should have just burned every single bit of him that was left, and he would have been dead.
I liked that better. But, like, no, I thought it was really cool. I was like, yeah, no, like, that's a thing I didn't think about at all.
He looks Lovecraftian as heck. And they didn't go the Lovecraft route with it, but...
Of the more they understand it, the more insane it becomes?
Just, like, it didn't really have much to do with anything except, like, basic mind control. And also extreme body horror.
Also, he wasn't big enough.
Yeah, he wasn't big enough. Yeah, he wasn't that big. He fit in the mall.
Yeah.
He was way bigger in the shadow form.
I think the design... I think they chose that mall for a reason, though. Was they're like, we need a room that has a big enough open area.
And, like, malls were big in the 80s. And, oh, man, word, dude. They freaking... We talked about it briefly. There's so much 80s nostalgia shoved down your throat here with the music and everything. Whatever, dude.
How in, like, the first, like... How many 80s hits... Yeah, in the first 10 minutes of this
season. Soundtrack for this is, like, more dense than a Guardians of the Galaxy. Here's a bunch of hits that you should know already. Yeah, whatever, dude. All right.
It's good.
Do you have anything else to say? I loved it, but I also, at parts, we give our thoughts. Are we good?
Yeah.
You should go watch, or no, don't watch them. I'm assuming you watched them if you watched this spoiler cast.
If you let us spoil you, then you're the worst kind of person.
Let us know what your thoughts were in the comments below. If we messed something up, that's cool. But tell us that we're bad. I'm still looking for, like I said, I'm looking for season 4. Oh, we should probably briefly touch this. Strip 4 is going to be weird because everybody's separated.
I assume it's going to be a summer vacation movie.
Could be. If I were Joyce, I would move the heck out of town. Don't blame her.
Don't blame her at all.
She's trying to be a good mom. That town sucks butt.
I'm sad.
And everyone that she knew is gone.
Yeah, I'm sad for the sole purpose of I like the idea of like the kids like still being together and friends. However, I also get it.
They could focus on another town and have half the cast gone. I don't think they'll do that though.
Oh no, they for sure won't do that.
Do you think they'll do the thing where they have plots taking place in both the cities? Do you think they'll bring back that character from the bad episode from season 2?
Yes. How is Elle going to get her powers back, my boy?
That whole episode is... The more I think about that episode, the less okay with it I am.
The more you realize that it has, like, no... The only purpose
it makes Elle feel better using her powers.
The only purpose it served was to give Elle the moral quandary of, is she a murderer?
But she didn't even...
But here's the thing, is they do a very bad job of portraying that, but that's the only character stuff that really happens in the whole episode.
It's so bad.
And like,
here's the thing. You don't have a filler episode in your 8-episode season, dude. If this was a 22-episode show, it would be more forgivable. All right.
Yeah. You got 8 episodes. Don't give a filler one.
Last thing, in season 4, I hope there's a little more Stranger in my Stranger Things for the whole season.
And I hope that Hopper comes back.
I hope Hopper comes back, even though I'm very sad. Even though I think it would ruin... Whatever, we talked about it. I hope Hopper comes back. I'll break my rule and hope against good writing. Anything else?
No.
All right, we love you. Bye.